In their world, people aren't whole. They're tools or threats.
Greetings. Welcome to The Alignment. I am Minister Robinson, and I'm going to break this down to help someone get out of the trauma bond. So let me talk to you for a moment, because believe it or not, I know how this feels. That quiet, that heavy, uncomfortable silence that shows up after everything is over. I'm talking about no text, no arguments, no confusion, no chaos, just space. And for some strange reason, that space feels worse than everything you just came out of. So what happens is your mind starts wandering. And before you even realize it, you're not thinking about what they did to you. You're thinking about how much you miss them. But let me stop you right there. You do not miss them. You miss the silence after the chaos. See, when you were in that situation, there was always something happening. Something to fix, something to respond to, something to figure out. Some version of yourself you had to become just to keep things from falling apart. You, my good friend, were busy surviving. You were busy managing emotions that were never, ever yours to carry. You were busy trying to make sense of something that was never designed or whatsoever to make sense. There was no stillness. There was no peace.
You didn't disappear all at once.
There was no moment
one
where you
compromise at a
could just
time.
sit and be okay. And now everything has stopped. And instead of feeling relief, you feel empty. Mainly because your system got used to chaos. Your mind got used to the constant stimulation. Your body, listen to me, your body got used to the emotional highs and lows. Your nervous system got used to being on edge. Even when nothing was happening. So when the chaos disappears, I've gone through this. It does not feel like peace. It feels, you're going to resonate with this. It feels like something is missing. And your brain tries to solve that feeling the only way it knows how. By going back to the source. That's why you start remembering the good moments. That's why you start questioning yourself. That's why you start thinking maybe it wasn't that bad. And sometimes you start to think maybe that you overreacted. Maybe you should reach out. No, that is not clarity. That is conditioning. Let me say this clearly. You were trained to associate intensity with connection. You were trained to associate emotional instability with love. So now that everything is quiet, your system is looking for something to attach to. And not because that it was actually good for you, but because that person, they were familiar. And familiarity can feel like love when you have been in it long enough. But let me ask you something. And I want you to be honest with yourself, not me, with yourself. When you hear this, do you miss being anxious? Do you miss second guessing everything that you said? I've been there. Do you miss feeling like you had to explain yourself over and over and over again just to still not be understood? Let me ask you, do you miss walking on eggshells? Do you miss feeling like one wrong move could shift everything, throw everything off balance? Do you miss shrinking yourself just to keep the peace? Or, and this is a huge ass or, do you miss those brief moments when everything finally calmed down and you could breathe? You could actually breathe for a second, because those are not the same thing. See, and I have to say this clearly, you did not fall in love with peace. You fell in love with relief. Relief from the chaos, relief from the tension, relief from the emotional weight you were carrying every single day. And your mind took that relief and it labeled it. It put a big patch, it put a sticker on it, and guess what it did? It called it love. That is why silence feels so heavy right now. Because I'm going to tell you, for the first time, there is no chaos attached to it. There is no tension waiting around the corner. There is no emotional spike about to hit. Very important, there is no situation that you now have to fix. It's just you. And honestly, in the beginning, that can feel uncomfortable. If you've been disconnected from yourself for a long time, it can feel super uncomfortable, because now there's nothing distracting you anymore. There's no noise to drown out your thoughts. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's no drama to keep you occupied. No emotional roller coaster to keep you engaged. Just stillness. And most people don't realize this one thing. Stillness can feel unbearable when you are used to it. So let me just throw something out there. So instead of sitting with it, instead of learning how to exist in that space, a lot of people, so many people, run back to what broke them. Not because they want the pain, get that out of your head, but because they don't know. They don't know how to handle the peace. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. Because you don't miss them, you're really uncomfortable with the peace. And I'm going to tell you, until you begin to understand that, you will keep on going back. Thinking that you are chasing love, when really, honestly, you're trying to escape the silence. But this right here, this moment that you're in, this quiet, this space, I'm going to tell you something. This is where your life actually starts to come back to you. This is where you begin to hear your own thoughts again. This is where you begin to feel your own emotions again. This, believe it or not, this is where you begin to reconnect with the version of you that got lost in all of that chaos. But I'm going to tell you, you have to stay right here long enough. You have to stay here long enough for it to begin to make sense. Because at the very beginning, when you first begin this journey, it's not going to feel good. It's never going to feel good at first. It is going to feel unfamiliar. It's going to feel unfamiliar at first. It's going to feel like something is missing. But what's actually missing, when you break it all down, what is actually missing is the dysfunction. What's actually missing, let me say this clearly, what's actually missing is the confusion. Let me throw this out there. What's actually missing is the constant emotional drain that you got used to carrying. And without that weight, your system doesn't know how to function. Let's be honest. But let's think about the end game. It will. If you give it time. If you stop going back. If you stop confusing chaos with connection. Because peace is not supposed to feel like a problem you need to solve. Peace is something that you grow into. And right now, right at this very moment, you're in the process of learning what that actually feels like. So no, you don't miss them. You really don't miss them. You're just standing in a version of your life where that chaos doesn't revolve around survival anymore. And that can feel unfamiliar until it becomes your new normal. And if you're sitting in that silence right now, in this very moment, trying to understand why it feels the way it feels, I've been there, I feel you. Why your mind keeps going back, why part of you still feels pulled towards something you already know it wasn't right. You don't need more confusion. You need that one thing that I always talk about. You need clarity. Because once you understand the pattern, once you see what is actually happening, once you recognize the cycle for what it is, that silence, it stops feeling heavy. And it begins to feel what it was meant to feel like. It starts feeling like peace. And you know what? That's why I put together something structured, step by freaking step, to help you break the cycle, to help you break that cycle and actually understand what your mind and body are going through right now. It's called Break the Trauma Bond in 7 Steps. Because it's never been about just leaving. It's about not going back, not feeling pulled, not thinking about this person that did nothing for your emotional stability. And once you get that clarity, everything changes. Let me remind you, you don't miss them. You are just learning how to live without the chaos. With that being said, Minister Robinson, Church of Real Talk, founder of the Now Movement, welcome to the alignment. And the reason why I do everything that I do here, I want you to keep healing. I want you to stay powerful and love you guys.
Healing begins the moment you choose yourself again.